Hey besties, I hope you like this angle. It's kind of different, it's kind of cute. Okay, so I have seen a few different people do this in a few different types of ways, and I recently listened to Sadie Crowell's podcast titled Rules to Self That Will Change Your Life. And basically, I'm just gonna tell you guys my rules that I live by to live my happiest and best life and what has helped me so very much to do so. Because I'm at a pretty good stage in my life where I'm like, there's like a bug where I'm like doing pretty well, achieving all this different type of stuff, and I'm very like content and like I'm okay where I'm at. Also, if you can't tell, I'm wearing a tank top and literally shorts because it's actually warm outside, but I didn't get to go outside. But it's okay. So this is also like just kind of like words to live by. So let's just get into it. The first section is about not worrying. That's like a big thing that I'm still trying to learn. But there's this quote, and I really like it, and it says, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't worry about it for more than 5 seconds. Or actually, I think it was like 5 minutes. Don't worry about it for more than 5 minutes. And I think that's really true. We think about things in the long run. God gives us enough grace each day to get by, so let's not even think about tomorrow. Let's not think about things that we're not even going to remember or that aren't even going to really affect anything because God's in control. And a lot of the things that we worry about just get solved and they just like work out. And then with that, there's also a Bible verse, and it is, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough worries of its own. And that is like a really good verse that I live by. That verse is Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. And I feel like it just teaches me to stop looking ahead every moment. We cannot be looking ahead every moment. It just ruins the present. It ruins our mind. It ruins our days and everything. And I've also just been really like trying to just be, like the word be, just be. And there's like a Bible verse, and it's literally right behind me. It's be still and know that I am God. And that's just knowing that like God's in control and stuff, and just getting off, stop listening to the lies, stop scrolling on social media, and just know that's okay. And then next section is kind of just like treating others, how you treat others. I think that's really important and something that I, again, definitely live by. All these things I live by. So like the first one is from a Bible verse. So if you didn't know, I'm Christian. So I mean, the Bible is like literally what I would live by, like the words that I live by. It is Matthew chapter 22, verse 39, and it is love your neighbor as yourself. And I really try to live by that. That is because I feel like that covers a lot of different areas as far as like judgment. We're not called to judge anyone, but let God do that. And we don't really have room to judge anyone. And just being slow to anger, that's a big prayer that I've been praying lately. And just not letting people irritate you and offend you and stuff. Just having understanding for people. And this goes into like my next thing is just I really try to have sympathy and empathy for people, and just like putting myself in their shoes and having compassion on them, being like, this person's mean, but like at the same time, like everybody's going through something for one, and like what are they going through? And I feel like people who bully and all these different things, they're doing it out of a lack of love and stuff. And so for one, if we love others as ourselves, if they're mean or whatever, they're gonna like see you and be like, why are you actually being nice to me? And like they're going to see that like you're different, and see like, and they can see why, that it's because of God and stuff. And I mean, also, you're always gonna be the bigger person, and it's always gonna work out for your favor. The Bible literally says that. Like, I don't want to make someone's day worse or anything, but just try to be like a light. Which the next verse is Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 through 16. It says, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. And like that light that we have within us, that joy and love and smiling to someone, being joyful, being yourself, being original, telling someone hello or like whatever, and like that can make someone's day, and that's just being the light of the world. But it can be hard to do that, so there's a saying which you probably heard, kill them with kindness, but I think that's literally so true. You never regret doing it. And then also forgiveness. That is such a huge thing. I feel like forgiveness brings us past pettiness and drama and situations that we don't want to be in, and it we need God's forgiveness, and he calls us to forgive others, and like we just don't have the room to not forgive when Jesus literally forgave us and he's perfect. Yeah, I think forgiveness is another way that like can really just change someone else's life if you forgive them. And just we all need forgiveness, even if it's like we all need forgiveness from God, we all need forgiveness from each other. And just like to wrap that all up, what I just said is just like to love like Christ, and like there's no reason to hate, no reason. But I think we all have to work on that in ourselves. Like we all like naturally like fall through these things of not wanting to forgive and wanting to hold judgments and grudges on all these different things. So we all have to work on that in ourselves. I'm not perfect. That's why I live by these things, because I have to work on doing these things. It doesn't just come naturally. I'm not just preaching to you. I'm preaching to myself. The next section is relationships, as far as like boyfriend, girlfriend, and like then leading to marriage and all that. And for relationships, I always want to be equally yoked. I want to both want the same thing, to be on the same page, both be working for the kingdom of God, and God gives us relationships to do that. Like all types of relationships, friendships, everything, to do that. And like what's the point of being in a relationship if like one person wants to get married and one person doesn't, and like one person wants to live for God and the other person doesn't? It just doesn't work out, and that's not the person that God has for you then. As well as what I'm saying, like one person should not be having to beg for the other person. It should be equal. I always think about relationships and like I'm going to marry this person, because if not, like you're wasting your time. If not, then you shouldn't be dating that person. Is this a relationship that you want to be married? Where like marriage is like till death do I part. So, you know. And also, if you don't want to be in the relationship, don't cheat or anything. Don't just stay because even though you don't want to be in the relationship. Definitely break up. Definitely end it. I would not want someone to do that. Like, I would not want someone to stay in a relationship with me if they didn't want to. I would not want to be cheated on, and I would not want to do the same thing. It's just miserable all around. I used to not think this, but I totally do now. Definitely be friends with someone before you're dating. For one, why not? There's no reason why not. I want to know the person that's dating. I want to be comfortable around them. I don't want it to be like I feel like on TV and stuff, sometimes they make it awkward when someone first starts dating. But like, if you're friends before, it's not going to be like that. You know what I mean? Where like the label doesn't change that relationship that you guys have, and like the reason why you want to date. And then also, this kind of goes with that. I had to start looking at guys as potential friends and not potential boyfriends. I personally would always look at guys as potential boyfriends and not potential best friends or like friends or whatever. And then it like clouds your vision, and it makes you have less friends and everything, and just like closes you off more. And then you're like, oh well, I wouldn't date this person, so okay, next. And like, but they could be a great friend. It just makes you focus way more on relationships and or why you're single or like all this different stuff, when really all we need is friends. And then lastly, I'm working on this currently, and I've had to like learn this, especially over the past like year or two. But like, enjoy your singleness and also use it as a time for preparation. A lot of people think that like, oh, I'm single, and I feel like the only thing they think they can do is find a boyfriend. But you can actually prepare yourself. Like, I'll listen to like podcasts and like people, sometimes like Sadie Robertson and different people. And I've learned so much, and I've learned so much about what I want in a relationship and everything. And I just know that like God has me single for a reason. And like I've heard so many people say like that like right before they were like taken, but like that singleness right before they were in a relationship was so important and so vital. And it's also just a beautiful time to spend with God, just you and God. Lastly, for the relationship section, is that I saved myself for marriage. I just kind of want to explain why, because like that's like an important decision. That's a good decision. If you've already had sex before, you can still do it. You can recommit yourself to that, or just commit yourself from now on. And I think for one, it's a great way to not get brokenhearted and hurt and different things. It's a great way to build a relationship not on lust or anything. It's a great way not to get like any transmitted diseases or anything, or to make things complicated in different situations and relationships with different people. Well, for one, I'm not ready to even have a child yet or anything, and I am so excited to when I get older. And I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I definitely want to be able to have that with a partner that I choose to marry. And all of that, which obviously there's never a perfect time and everything, and like we'll see what happens, but you know what I mean. And this is no hate on anyone or anything, this is just my personal beliefs. And I've also heard just some people say like how well like it makes their relationships, and of course God tells us to do so in the Bible, and I don't think it's just to be strict or anything. I think like there's reasons that I said, there's reasons, and for our safety and for our wellness and everything. Plus I feel like relationships, it's really hard sometimes to determine love over lust and stuff. It's just not the most important thing. Next section is kind of like about my relationship with God in my life and stuff. Okay, so the next one is a Bible verse, and it is, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. He's always near though, no matter what. But that really like got me like to understand, like when I feel very far away from God and stuff, I can turn to God, I can pray, I can read my Bible, and yeah, God's always with me. But acknowledging his presence, talking to him and stuff, obviously that's going to make me feel better and feel closer and feel him more and stuff. And so I think that's a great verse to bring understanding and everything. And then with that, I've learned every single day, it is a very good discipline and practice and routine to have a quiet time with God. Don't beat yourself up if you don't make it every day. Start slowly, start what you can, and even if you're in a great routine of it and sometimes you don't, that is completely fine. Don't always beat yourself up about when it has to be or how long or anything. It's good if you can make it as long as you can, and maybe like the first thing in your morning, because that's a great way to start your day and fill you up. But like I said, don't beat yourself up, and God never said you have to have quiet time with me every time, da, 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 da. No, we put that on ourselves, and that's a great way to build a relationship and a foundation and build ourselves up, set ourselves up for greatness for the day and everything, but also don't beat yourself up over what you can and can't do. Whew, I just went on a whole tangent there. But yes, quiet time with God, literally, it makes my day the best that it can be, and it fills me up, and it makes me not be a cranky, mean Sammie, but sets me up for the best that I can be with Jesus. Okay, and then just, oh my gosh, when I heard this, it took so much pressure off of me. My life is to put attention on God, not attention on myself. It is to make God known, not myself. So when I'm making YouTube videos and stuff, when I'm posting on social media, when I'm talking to someone or whatever I'm doing, I want to make God known, not myself. It doesn't mean like don't let people know who you are or anything, but that just means like I'm not living for approval. I'm not living for fame to be. If there's a spotlight pointed on me, I want it to shine right through me and back to God. Because I want my life to reflect God. I want my life to be a billboard for God, because that's how we make heaven crowded. That's how we save people. And that's how we love. This is my life verse. It is Acts chapter 20, verse 24. And it is, but my life is worth nothing to me unless I use it for finishing the work assigned to me by the Lord Jesus. The work of telling others the good news about the wonderful grace of God. And I think it just puts so much pressure off ourselves when we're like, this is the purpose of my life. This is the point. It is for God. Go back to your room for now. I'm trying to film. Okay, so, and I think that just, like, explains it perfectly. Yay. The next section doesn't really have a title, it's just a lot of different things. First is, this is so good. You can look up to people and how they do things well, and, like, you can look up to those characteristics and attributes that they have, and you can take away things from them of ways of living and good things to do and different stuff, and that is really good to do for yourself. For example, I mean, it could be a talent someone has. It could be a way that someone doesn't care what other people think. It could be a way that someone spreads kindness and light, or a way that someone's always full of joy and dancing around and stuff. I think those are great things. We are all called to be original and unique, and people can take things from you as well when we do that. But I don't think it's bad to take great things away, especially if it's like something like that's Bible approved, if that makes sense. But I think that's a great way to grow your confidence and grow yourself, and maybe even like how you're loving on people and stuff. The next one is a quote that I have held on to for a long time, and it is, you gotta have the bad days to have the good ones. That's how we appreciate things. That's just how life is. And then kind of with that, it's because people, days, life, all of that, they're not going to be, and they can't be perfect. God's the only one who's perfect, and even he knows this, and he has grace on us for this reason, because we're just humans, and it's life on earth. Now, the next one is kind of irrelevant to the last two I just said, but like I said, this is the random section. last one of the random section is, it's actually a quote that I've heard a couple years ago and I've still held on to, and I'm still trying to learn from this and work on this for myself, and I've been praying about this lately. But it is, I don't know who this is by either, but it says, the biggest communication problem that we have is we do not listen to understand, but we listen to reply. So I've been praying lately that I would be slow to speak and quick to listen, and that I would be listening to understand, not to just hear, because I'm someone who likes to talk a lot, and I'm someone who likes to go off what someone's saying and say my own thing. So I definitely want to listen more to understand and not just to reply. And I want to be a friend and a family member and stuff who is a good listener. God's the best listener. He listens to everything. He listens even when we're not intentionally talking to him, but when we're just like crying and mumbling under our breath, he hears. Now, the last one is kind of just like how to go about everyday living. So the first one is, God's not done with you. There's so much joy and happiness and good things ahead. And so we just get to be excited for that. But we also get to be present in with the presence of now and the joy that now and everything. Because our circumstances, our relationships, how perfect we are, none of that is what can bring us true joy. Only God. That's why the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So for one, we just have days that we get to look ahead and we get to know the truth of there's good days ahead. God's not done with us. Our best days are not behind us. That's why we're still living. And we also get to know that there is such goodness to be found right here by having God. Look, it's getting dark. Good thing I'm on my last one now. And with that, we just get to live in a state of rejoicing and thankfulness and everything. We're not always going to be smiling and jumping up and down, although we could. But not every day. Every day's not going to be like that, but we have every single day there's something to be grateful for. So think about right now what you're grateful for. Just name one thing. Like, there's always something. And in God, we can find 10 million reasons. It just out of all of his attribute, out of the word, and all of his different characteristics and love for us. Because God is crazy about you. He died so you didn't have to. He tore your failures apart. Now he wears your scars. That's how much he loves you. That's from a song called Crazy About You by Torn Wells. Okay, so I hope you learned something. I think that these are pretty good because I live by these. But comment down any words that you live by, any quotes, or any just things that you try to do. And I love you. God loves you. Aaliyah loves you.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Happy New Year's. I'm gonna shower and stuff later and do my exercises and stuff, so bye. Okay.